Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel, welcome back. Today we are diving into more F1 predictions, and if you missed my bold predictions video, don't worry, it's right there in the description. Now let's take a closer look at where each driver will finish in the standings in the upcoming season, and I know, everyone is looking ahead to 2025, but have faith in 2024, please, because it'll be anything like the snooze fest of 2023. So let's jump into it. Haas are in for a tough year, and the same goes for Kevin Magnussen. It looks like a transition period for the team, and I'm not too confident they have been working hard on the car over the winter break. With internal power struggles and a new team principal, they've got a lot on their plate. Expect Haas to struggle in the early races, leading them to shift their focus to 2025. K-Mag will finish scoreless, and that will be his final season in Formula 1. Nico Hülkenberg is likely to outperform K-Mag, mainly due to his strong qualifying skills, putting him in contention for points in both regular races and sprints. I can actually see Hülkenberg snatching a point here and there when everything goes his way, as in the case of K-Mag, this will be his last season with the team and might be his last season in Formula 1. I'm predicting that Logan Sargent will be fired midway through the season, but he should secure at least a couple of points to avoid finishing last in the standings. He does have a bright future in IndyCar, and I'm sure he will do well there. New team, new sponsors, but is all hype and no substance? Yes. Branding can only take you so far, but it doesn't add horsepower, it doesn't fix aero packages, regardless of how cool the livery looks like. Guan Yu Zhou has been a curious case in Formula 1. At times he showed flashes of being a solid driver, but he can also bottle it under pressure. The cringe stake team should do a bit better than Haas, so by default Zhou can finish above Magnussen and Hülkenberg and occasionally maybe score a point. Valtteri Bottas usually kicks off the seasons with the bang, but halfway through he kinda takes the back seat. Gone are the days when he was all pumped up, ready to snatch a podium and even a win. Now he doesn't even seem as hungry for success in F1. It's more like he's just here to cash in and call it a day. Maybe he's got one more full season after this, but it's looking like he won't be racing for more than a handful of points. Still, he's likely to outperform Zhou in every department. Yuki Tsunoda is obsessed with beating teammates so much that he ends up overdriving the car. Ricciardo is no Gasly and is no De Vries. This is the year where Yuki has to deliver. However, I don't see him having matured enough to play the long game. His constant outburst on team radio, his failure to be more compassionate with his mechanics, will be his downfall. Without the backing of Honda, Yuki's future is increasingly likely away from Formula 1. So I predict he will be gone at the end of the season. Another IndyCar material? Maybe. Alpine is gearing up for a challenging year both on and off the track. The clash between Ocon and Gasly is shaping up to be a real spectacle. They managed to keep things under control last year, but this time around the dynamics are changing. The team is sliding further away from the midfield, scrapping for those lower points positions. Naturally, both drivers will be gunning for the same piece of track, turning the whole 2024 into their personal championship battle. My prediction, Gasly will likely come on top of Ocon, and you can bet there will be some gripping drive to survive content as well. Pierre Gasly's second year in the team means he's finally ready to shine. After an unlucky 2023, I predict that more races will go his way in 2024. But again, it's a pale consolation. Alpine will most likely pull the plug at the end of the year and see greener pastures. Gasly might still have a future in F1, but he needs solid races. I can see him finishing a couple of races tantalizingly close to a podium or two. Stroll's prep was cut short by an accident last year. He lost his mojo and couldn't build momentum in 2023. In 2024, he will be under even more pressure, both from his dad and Fernando Alonso. I can't see the team going forward to be the likes of McLaren, Mercedes, Ferrari and Red Bull. And in a scenario like that, every point counts. Stroll is generally a solid driver in race trim, but he desperately needs to sort out his qualifying. He might be scoring some podiums when the stars align and when he stays away from troubles. Alex Albon is making waves in F1 and he's probably on half of the grid's shortlist for 2025 and beyond. But you know what? He's got to stay on top of his game to keep that market value soaring. I've got a feeling he'll do really great in the low pressure environment at Williams. His defense skills could rack up some solid points, and I wouldn't be surprised if Williams improves the car performance for some circuits. Picture this, Albon might just snag a podium or two at sprint weekends. Oh, and of course, 2024 will be his last year with Williams. This is it for the Aussie. He's in pole position to secure another year with the main Red Bull team, but he can't set a foot wrong at any race weekends. I'm sure the Visa Cash, whatever the name is, developed the car around him, and that will bring a smile to Danny Rick's face. He showed some glimpses of his past glory in 2023, and even after missing out on a few race weekends, the Honey Badger still got this. He never left. Don't forget that he impressed Horner last year in a Red Bull test. Ricciardo can finish all the races in top 10, and I'm sure he has some targets to achieve set up by Helmut Marko. A frustrating season ahead for Fernando Alonso, which will either put him into retirement or to a move to Mercedes. Aston Martin still has some performance left to fight for the best of the midfield, but it's hard to see how that will translate into podiums and solid top 5 unless other teams get their strategies horribly wrong. Aston ended up with the 5th fastest car last year, and I doubt they have found substantial gains over winter to aspire for more in 2024. Cue on the salty team radios. Everyone's looking towards 2025, but I'm excited to see how the Mercedes team will handle this transition period. I'm genuinely looking forward to 2024. The battle between Russell and Hamilton will get extremely spicy, especially on race weekends where the car performs well. Hamilton could have a season that sucks the life out of him, sort of similar to the 2012 one with McLaren, and I can't see Mercedes winning any race, but a few podiums are on the cards. If the car is not there, I'm sure Lewis will not make it too difficult for Mercedes, and he will play the team player role. This is the season where George Russell has to beat Lewis Hamilton in every single aspect, from the free practice sessions to the checkered flag, to crown himself the alpha male at Mercedes. Why? Well, if not, then he will be paired with another top talent with the likes of Alonso, Vettel or even Leclerc. Behind closed doors, the pressure on Russell will be mounting. Already Toto Wolff has stated that he sees Russell as the team leader going forward, and the Brit will have to repay that trust with results. I see a motivated George Russell, and when the goings get tough, will Mercedes side with the leaving Hamilton or with their new hot property? I guess we're about to find out. McLaren will finally have a good car this year, and Oscar is a good reliable driver, and I can't see him troubling Lando Norris just yet. And because he's a team player, the strategies will ruin a couple of races to favor the lead driver. Piastri knows his place for now, but I think he's intelligent enough to also play the long game. Who knows? He might turn up in Senna mode at the start of the season and bring the fight to Lando, but let's calm down a bit. Team orders will be a factor this year. I just can't see Piastri outscoring Norris in any scenario. Charles Leclerc would have been absolutely gutted when he found out that Hamilton will be his teammate in 2025, and we know how many mistakes Leclerc can make when he's rattled. I think this will be the team in 2024. More mistakes from the Monegasque are to be expected, and Charles will be under huge pressure in 2024 as he bids to secure the team support ahead of the next year. Who knows? Hamilton's arrival might be a blessing in disguise. It can be the click that Charles Leclerc needs to switch on to beast mode. After all, he mopped the floor with Vettel, surely he can handle another world champion, right? Carlos Sainz has nothing to lose in 2024, and no doubt he will go all guns blazing. Well, sort of. The Spaniard usually is seen as a respectful driver, and above all, he's a team player, but Ferrari did him dirty. So a switch into his mindset is to be expected, and that's a good thing. Everyone sees Sainz as not having what it takes to be the lead alpha driver in a team, but I predict the 2024 version of Sainz will be ruthless and selfish. The Ferrari pair will animate the race weekends, and I just can't wait for that. Lando Norris will benefit from the Ferrari scrap and bank podiums he otherwise would not have been on. McLaren has closed the 2023 season strongly, and 2024 will be an evolution of that. McLaren threw all their resources to transform a dog of a car into matching Red Bull on race pace. I still can't see Lando win a race, but he'll definitely score solid podiums and even split the Red Bulls. Perez did something that no number 2 driver at Red Bull has managed to do, and that is to finish second in the driver standings. Sergio Perez will continue on that form, and I doubt he will think about winning a championship anymore. His hopes will be to pick the occasional win and retire as the most successful Mexican ever. But Perez should watch his back and don't get too comfortable. His every race weekend will be under scrutiny. No surprises here, and even if Red Bull doesn't have a fastest car, Max Verstappen will win the Formula 1 World Championship by a country mile. 2024 will be utter domination from the Dutch Lion. Even if he dislikes all-time statistics, I'm sure Max thinks about them, and quite a lot. He's now racing in F1 not against drivers per se, but against records. That mindset will keep F1 enjoyable for him for a very long time. And look, I'm not the biggest Verstappen fan, but I raise my hat to the kid. He's something special. He could even end up being the greatest driver that has ever raced in Formula 1. So that's a wrap. Do you agree or disagree with this list? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.